Across the seasons from 2023 through 2025, Shane Van Gisbergen made 12 road course starts and won 6 of them with an average finish of 7.6. Everywhere else across 38 starts, his average finish was 25.0, according to analyst Neil Payne. No driver who debuted after 1972 had ever shown a wider gap between road courses and every other track type, and the margin was not remotely close. That gap was supposed to be permanent. History said so. Then the 2026 season started, and within 12 oval races, the widest performance split in more than 50 years of stock car racing began to close. To understand why that matters, you have to understand why the criticism was fair in the first place. Shane Van Gisbergen arrived in the United States from the Australian Supercars Championship, a series built almost entirely on road courses and street circuits. He is a 3-time Supercars champion and a 3-time Bathurst winner. What he did not have was oval experience. His teammate Ross Chastain, a 5-time oval winner, described the background plainly. He just didn't do a lot of it in his past. He did some dirt track stuff, but no big concrete, big steep-banked asphalt, high-speed mile-and-a-halves. His rookie NASCAR Cup Series season in 2025 reflected exactly that. He won 5 races, every single one came on a road course. He finished 12th in the final standings. His best oval finish across the entire year was 10th at Kansas Speedway in September 2025. When a reporter asked how it felt to finally get a top 10 finish on an oval, he pushed back on the framing immediately. "I don't know about finally. It's a process. This is pretty difficult, and it's taken me some time to get better and better," he said. The skeptics were not inventing a pattern out of nothing. They had a very specific precedent in mind, and his name was Marcos Ambrose. Ambrose also came from supercars, also moved to the NASCAR Cup Series, also dominated the road courses, and also spent years unable to translate that speed onto ovals. Ambrose himself has explained why, speaking on the Apex Hunters United podcast, over time. You get better at it, but the guys who have done it since they were 8 or 9 or 10, they're just way up the road. Shane Van Gisbergen has been just as direct about how different the disciplines are. Asked by Stuff what makes oval racing so challenging, he answered, "It's everything. Everything adds up to how difficult it is here. It seems more simple, you would think, for 2 corners, but there's so many little intricate details of how the cars are set up just to turn one way." He went on to describe the sensation of the banking as something you simply do not experience anywhere else in motorsport, and pointed out the practical problems stacked on top of it. You basically have 10 or 15 minutes and 1 set of tires and to learn a new track and get ready for the weekend. His own description of high-speed oval technique explains the mental adjustment better than any analyst could. Writing on social media, he said, "Still one of the craziest parts of oval racing to me. Send it in at 310 kph/190 mph, missing apex on purpose. Heading to the wall hoping an imaginary grip strip's air pocket is going to save you from hitting it, then hearing the exhaust echo on the wall as it holds you off it. Wild, that is the setup." Now here is the evidence, and it arrives as a ladder of 4 races, each one answering the objection raised by the last. The first step came at EchoPark Speedway in Atlanta, a drafting track, where Shane Van Gisbergen finished 6th. At the time, it was his career best oval result, and it received very little attention. The objection was obvious: superspeedway racing is chaotic, and a 6th-place finish there does not prove sustained speed. The second step answered that, and it came at the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the longest race on the NASCAR calendar. The finishing position was 11th, which on paper looks unremarkable. The underlying data told a completely different story. His average running position through the race was 7.81. According to NASCAR Insights, the number 97 Chevrolet ranked 7th on sheer speed and 6th on defense among the 39 car field. A slow pit stop, not a lack of pace, produced the 11th place result. He said afterward, "It was a decent day. I was just frustrated at the moment because our finishing position wasn't as good as we probably deserved. We ran pretty decent all day, but I just mucked up at the end. We had a bad pit stop, and then with the strategy, maybe we could have done better. He also offered the simplest possible explanation for the improvement. I think it's always just time and always learning stuff. The objection to Charlotte was still that 11th is 11th. The third step removed it. On May 31 at Nashville Superspeedway in the Cracker Barrel 400, Shane Van Gisbergen finished 5th. It was his first top 5 finish on an oval in his 64th NASCAR Cup Series start, and it came in his 50th career oval start at the Cup level. It also came on a concrete surface he had openly said was not his strength heading into the weekend. He started 10th on the qualifying metric after rain canceled the session. Crew chief Stephen Doran took 2 tires during a competition caution on lap 35, which put him ahead of the field. He led 12 laps and traded the lead back and forth with 2-time series champion Kyle Larson. It was fun and I was surprised how much grip we had on the 2 tires, he said. It was cool to try to put myself in a good spot and air on him in a bad spot. It was cool to battle. I took back the lead at one point. It was really fun. His description of the middle of the race was less polished. It's amazing. You start up front and your car feels so nice, and then you go to the back on strategy and it felt like a bucket of. There is a detail from that night worth noting. NASCAR initially scored him 7th at the checkered flag, and that is where he believed he had finished while standing on pit road. He politely corrected a reporter who told him he had finished in the top 5. A review of the finish and of a front stretch crash moved him up to 5th. Even then, he was self-critical, again pissed with myself. I mucked up the last lap there and Chase put it on my door. I got a bit loose, and then we both got tight and probably cost us some positions. He also identified something concrete he had learned. I learned to be comfortable moving around in 1 and 2, which I've never been able to do before, he said of the Tootsie's Orchid Lounge Chevrolet. And he pointed at the trend rather than the single result. We had a bad couple of months, and a few weeks ago it feels like it's turned around. It's a real momentum-based sport and confidence-based as well. The remaining objection was sample size. 1 race on a night that produced 10 drivers who did not finish. The 4th step erased it. North Wilkesboro Speedway, July 19, 2026, the Window World 450. This is the centerpiece of the entire story. Qualifying was again canceled by weather, so Shane Van Gisbergen started 8th on the metric in a 37-car field. Stephen Doran called a 2-tire stop in the first cycle through pit road, which moved him to 4th. From there, he passed 3 Joe Gibbs racing drivers in sequence, Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, and finally Denny Hamlin to take the lead on lap 52. That is when the radio call happened. I'm leading. What the do I do now? The reply from his team, I don't know. Go straight. Ty Gibbs took the Stage 1 win back from him on the final lap of the stage by roughly half a car length. He collected 9 stage points there and 6 more in Stage 2. He led 4 separate times for a total of 49 laps, second in the race only to eventual winner Joey Logano, who led 3:23. His previous best on any oval was 12 laps. Then the numbers that never made a broadcast graphic. He ran 355 laps inside the top 5 and 442 laps inside the top 10, spending more time inside the top 10 than any other driver in the field. He finished 5th, his first short track top 5, and his first short track finish inside the top 10 of any kind. The technical detail underneath the result is the most revealing part. It's a bit like a road course here, he said. I tried right foot brake for a bit. Half the race, I right foot braked and just felt comfortable doing that. It's a real balance track and you can really affect the car with your driving technique. So yeah, I felt comfortable doing that. He did not abandon his instincts. He found a track where they transfer. He also raced the Craftsman Truck Series event at the same venue on Saturday and finished 3rd, which Stephen Doran credited directly. It was just a real solid day, Doran said. You speak about the race yesterday, I feel like that helped him a ton. Just learned the track, he used some of the lines that he figured out yesterday in the truck, so thanks to Spire for letting him do that. On the front of the field, Shane Van Gisbergen said, I mean, it's just calmer when you get up there. Everyone's racing really respectful. I passed Denny and mucked that up and let him back through like it's a lot friendlier type of people up there. On television, he added, "When I took the lead, I got pretty excited. I don't know what to do. Thank you to Wendy's, Trackhouse, Chevy. Awesome day. Just amazing to get stage points both stages. A bit pissed I threw it away in the last corner on that first stage, but just awesome racing up front all night." The validation came from inside the garage. Ross Chastain, who has 5 oval wins, said, "I think he's just learned. He's a racer and puts the tire to the limit, and he's finding that limit. Stephen is giving him the cars he needs. He pushes the gas." And Denny Hamlin, who finished second at North Wilkesboro, said of the driver who finished 5th, "I just can't say how impressive it is. That the guy in a year and a half or whatever it is has come in here and figured out how to run ovals as good as he has." Now the season-level numbers. Through the first 12 oval races of 2026, his average finish improved to 19.25, compared with 27.5 across the same 12-race stretch in 2025, a swing of more than 8 positions on essentially the same slate of tracks, with Nashville Superspeedway swapped in for Homestead Miami Speedway. Of the 11 tracks common to both seasons, he finished better at 9. Only Las Vegas Motor Speedway and Kansas Speedway went backwards. Across a larger sample, splitting his first 50 Cup oval starts in half, the most recent 25 show an improvement of nearly 6 positions on average over the first 25, along with more laps led and fewer races he did not finish. Then there is the historical measurement. From 2023 through 2025, his road course numbers were an average finish of 7. 6, an adjusted points plus index of 279, and a driver rating of 121.9. Everywhere else, 25.0 average finish, adjusted points plus of 48, and a rating of 50.0. Following the 6th at EchoPark Speedway and the 5th at North Wilkesboro Speedway, he had 7 finishes of 11th or better on non-road courses in 17 starts, an average finish of 19. 3. An adjusted points plus index of 97 against a Cup average of 100, and a driver rating of 67.4 against an average of 70. Only 3 drivers who debuted after 1972 have shown genuine road course ability, a genuinely bad record everywhere else, and then turned it around across the following 20 non-road starts: Jerry Nadeau in 2000 and 2001, Robbie Gordon in 2001 and 2002. And Shane Van Gisbergen in 2025 and 2026. On the driver rating version of the same test, the comparisons are Michael McDowell, Robbie Gordon again, and Shane Van Gisbergen. The caveat belongs in the story, not buried under it. Intermediates remain the weak spot, 21.6 average finish, 77 adjusted points plus, 58.2 rating. He is comfortably above average at drafting tracks and short tracks, and below average on the mile-and-a-half tracks that make up much of the schedule. He says so himself. "Some weeks I can run 10th to 15th pretty easily, and other weeks it's a battle to run 30th, he said at Sonoma Raceway. "I'm still the weak link as a driver, but I've got good teammates in the other cars, and they're struggling as well." He added, "I've still got a long way up the hill to go. I'm getting there, and I see the glimpses and I feel them and I know it's coming, but I still need to get a lot better, and I still have a lot to learn." Stephen Doran has identified the specific fix. "If we can qualify up there, we can stay up there all day," he said. "That's just the last piece of the puzzle with the ovals, is to qualify good. I feel like we have the speed to maintain that." The standings impact is where this stops being a feel-good story. He entered North Wilkesboro Speedway 31 points above the cut line and left it 14th in points, 54 points clear, with 5 regular season races remaining. Neil Payne's forecast model put him above 90% to make the postseason, and this time without the win and in road course result that carried him in 2025. "It's a huge one for the numbers," Doran said. "We had a little buffer, but not big enough to be comfortable by any means. The ripple effect is the real headline. Because Shane Van Gisbergen effectively locked himself in, and because Joey Logano surged with the North Wilkesboro win, only one playoff slot still had a favorite below 90%. Austin Cindric in 16th. That leaves Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Ryan Preece, and Brad Keselowski fighting over one fewer available spot than the picture suggested a month earlier. His improvement did not just help him, it removed a seat from the bubble fight. And it is driver-specific, not equipment-wide. At Trackhouse Racing, he is the organization's highest-ranked driver, with Ross Chastain in the low 20s and rookie Connor Zilisch 34th. The honest thesis is not that Shane Van Gisbergen has become an oval ace, it is that he has become an average one. For a driver who has won 8 of his first 15 road and street course starts, average everywhere else is a championship profile. The intermediates are the last unsolved piece, and the playoff schedule is full of them. Which oval do you think gives Shane Van Gisbergen his first non-road win? Leave your answer in the comments.